is you.
If you click on just me, it'll just show me. Like, click on my face. Yeah, there you go. Then you can make it even smaller if you want.
Oh, yeah. And so, yeah, Discord has figured it out. Discord is really good.
Yeah.
Boom. Right there.
Perfect.
I'll put you in this corner. And are we rolling?
Let's roll.
We're rolling. So we have with us... Oh, wait, I don't get to see your face. Unless I keep popping it over, which that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. We have omgitsDaddy. Daddy is his name for how many years that has been your video game's name?
I'm going to age myself, like 13 years probably.
Okay, so what I'm saying is it's not weird that I'm going to call you Daddy for however long we're doing this.
It is weird, but it's okay. We'll roll with it.
This is your VBL-S Midseason review. I'm sad that I didn't make power rankings with this league because it is the best league, hands down. You can confirm, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the season and how it's gone so far. So I got one headline right off the bat, is that we had 4 meme teams in this draft, and they're all performing legit. Like, they have more wins than losses, and some of them are, like, pretty hard memes. So let's look at this real quick. No shade.
All the memes are not created equal. Yes. Some are more memey than others, that's for sure.
So Ben in the Great British Blastoises, last season's champion, memed with a random draft. Now, he, with the points tier list, he's generally getting good value, right? He's not, like, getting, like, garbage. But... it's a lot of weird stuff, and he's the only guy who's sitting here with 4 wins. Steve has done the Steve core using his name, and he's at I think 3-2 now. Who's memeing? Poppin with the All Reggie team is a 3-1, and then the memeiest of the memes. You have a win, which was more than some people expected.
I think it's more than everybody expected. Let's be honest here. I'm hoping for 2. If I can get a second one, I'll be happy.
Let's look at your team. Like, tell me about your team. Tell me what you were planning and like how it has been to your expectations or not.
So, I actually was planning on sitting this season out because most of you guys know I had a child. Well, my wife had a child.
Real daddy.
Real daddy now. So I think I'm going to have to change my tag because now it's just too weird. It was weird before, but anyways. So I decided I wanted to come back because I enjoy this league so much. I like the people in it. I like the way that we run things. I've been in a couple draft leagues now, and this is by far my favorite. So I had to come back. But I also knew that I wasn't going to be able to dedicate as much time as I normally would. So I figured, you know what, let's do something weird. So I decided to make an all-bug team. I thought it would be fun. I thought I could scrape out a win or 2. I already got 1, so 1 more, and I've exceeded my own expectations. But then, at the same time, it has options. You know what I mean? It's not as bad as you might think.
It's fast, and bugs are not literally just bug types. You added Drapion, and then once you started getting max airstreamed every week, you added your flexible definition of bug. So Gigalith is very much a spider, or designed to be a spider. So Gigalith really helps round out your team.
Yeah, Gigalith is definitely kind of a stretch, and like I was telling you earlier, I felt kind of dirty picking it up, but Cobra beat me so bad.
Celesteela against bugs, that's not going to go well.
It just hurt me. So I had to make some drastic change. So I threw Gigalith on there. And then just, it's mid-season. The free agency deadline was coming up, so I made a couple changes. I wanted Shedinja at the beginning of the season, and I didn't get him. I wanted Lurantis, but Lurantis got drafted by, I think, Cheryl. So I'm really happy that I got to pick up Lurantis. And then Charge-a-Bug is just funny looking.
Steve showed us it can do things.
It can do a thing or 2. So
I'm really rooting for you. Not this coming week because it's against me. But the other weeks, I think you definitely have another win in you. Cool. So Poppin sent me a message of why his All Reggie's team is doing well. It's real quick. Let's hear it.
One thing that's really surprised me about the team has just been the versatility of wheezing.
No. It's sad. So I got Discord audio in here, but not... I think I can post put this audio in.
Yeah, can they hear it?
How about I send you the file? You listen to it right now, and then I put this audio in. My first question about how to do video editing was to you guys, and then here I am, saying stuff like we'll edit it in post. Okay, for the viewers, Poppin and his Reggies.
One thing that's really surprised me about the team has just been the versatility of wheezing. It's really obvious what it does, but it doesn't necessarily have to get paired with Regigigas. It can do a lot of other support stuff. It's just a overall great mon with it, just enough offensive potential so you can't completely ignore it. And in terms of stuff that I want to play around with more, I want to use Regieleki a bit more, because it's just been the standard support stuff where it's Electro Web, Volt Switch, and 2 filler moves. I want to try to get weird with that. So that's how I'm feeling about my team.
Do you hear it?
Yeah, I listened to it on my end.
Coolio.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, no, Wheezing is a good mon, and Wheezing has a lot of potential. I think he went the right route with the fairy Wheezing, because he, once he had the 6 Reggies, and unfortunately Registeel was taken from him, so he swapped in Bronzong. But he's like, what other stuff can I do with the Wheezing? And Archeops? I don't know. Archeops is good when you turn off its bad ability with Wheezing, and Golisopod is good because it has a bad ability which Wheezing can turn off. Yeah, so he's shown some good stuff with Wheezing.
Wheezing is very strong. It also gets Misty Terrain, which is, or Misty Surge, whatever it's called, which is usable. Levitate is a pretty good ability for a poison Pokemon too. So, I mean, he's used it really well. I think that's probably been one of his MVPs, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Jeff. And so he can run the Newt Gas to help Gigas out, and then he can manually set Misty Terrain, so prevent Wheezing from getting burned. That's something he could do. And Regirock, one of his favorites, has been good for him.
It's a solid team. It really is. I mean, each of the Reggies is pretty good. Regice maybe isn't great, but how many points is it? 7, 8?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
8 points is pretty solid, right?
Yeah, a good weakness policy. Bronzong is Rock Tomb, so that's pretty good. And then, so other memes. Steve is doing well. I don't know if we need to dive too hard because Steve makes content, but Ben does not, as far as I know. And so, look at his.
I want to talk about Ben's team.
Yeah. Because Ben's team, I was not expecting it to be 4-1 in any world.
But Ben's so good.
Yeah, Ben is.
You know what I mean? So.
Now, I don't mean to be negative, but I was surprised by Ben's team. I didn't put it as high in the power rankings, and I feel that a hyper offense team is inherently inconsistent. So he won this round, but it could have shaken out any other way. Despite the fact, I'm going to turn this positive by saying that Ben's performance this season has shown that it's truly legit, no fluke here, because this team is whack and he's winning, and he's winning in creative ways.
He's made Skarmory look pretty good,
With a casual weakness policy, yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, Dottler is incredible.
Yeah, clutch endgame.
Right, last week when he had the Eviolite, Iron Defense, Recover set that he was running, that was really strong.
Yeah, and I don't know if Dottler has body press. I think Orbeetle does, so maybe it does. But he didn't even need it. He just Iron Defensed and annoyed the opponent, and it
Infestation.
won.
Wasn't it Infestation, I think?
Yeah, Infestation is enough if they cannot kill the Dottler, which is what happened one week.
That was a really cool set. That was fun to watch. Nidorino. He hasn't used that yet, has he? Is that ever going to get used?
Yeah, he brought it to a game. He's brought everything. Variety King.
Yeah, Dragonite. I think also Dragonite's been kind of overlooked in this league for all the seasons. I think Dragonite's pretty strong.
It's the original pseudo-legendary. It's got the stats.
Multi-scale.
Yeah. And one of my favorite matches was when he brings Dragonite Colossal, one of the only good combos he has, and then he uses that expectation to just do something completely different. Max's Dragonite uses Coal as just kind of a bulky burner, and it worked.
Yeah, that's what kind of separates the great, like, I think every player in this league for the last couple of seasons has been a solid player, like pretty good. Mm-hmm. But it's what separates the best of us from the rest of us. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like guys like Ben and Steve and the Wonderkin just come up with such crazy stuff every week that works, and it's really hard to prep against teams like that.
Definitely. All right. What else do we have for this league? We have like a number of solid teams here. Like this is like one of the more competitive draft leagues, which is funny because these are mostly people that aren't in other draft leagues. I mean, some of us are, but like the competition has been good. And despite the fact that like this is season 4 and people are starting to have more work and life and obligations and
children.
That's a big life obligation. But there's been plenty of good moments, and I'm excited for the back half.
Yeah, there's a couple teams that have kind of surprised me.
Such as?
With their start to the season, too. Well, obviously, we talked about Ben quite a bit. Your team has been performed very well. And I know earlier in the season, I was kind of trolling you a little bit when you said that you thought that you had one of the top teams. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. I don't think so. But I've been really impressed with what you've done this season. I mean, 3-1 is pretty solid. We have a tough division, too.
Very kind. Do you believe it's top 2 yet?
No.
Because I believe it's top 1 now once Coker dropped Garchomp for Dragapult.
Really?
Top 1.
Let's dig into it.
All right. Well, I can't reveal the stuff I haven't already shown, but I'll talk about the stuff I have shown.
Like who have been like the Mons on your squad that kind of have overperformed? Like you didn't expect them to do as much as they have.
Throw 4-point throw is at 8-2 right now.
I know, it's crazy.
Which has everything to do with like good matchups and just like under like you don't prep for a throw, and therefore sometimes it's gonna eat your lunch. So it's a Trick Room dominant team, and I love Trick Room. I really think it's really fun because people tend to like not quite fully prepare for Trick Room. Like every team in our league mostly has a Trick Room counter. It has taunters, but I have an untauntable Trick Room on. I have 2 fake outs. This was an acquisition, but definitely helps to have a slow fake out for Trick Room. And so I have 2 Trick Roomers, Gallade and Aromatisse, and they're pretty different. So like I can get Trick Room whenever I want. And the difference between this and another Trick Room team I tried that like actually did quite well, but it did well against lesser competition in my very first draft league, is this really does have a fast mode. Like Latias with Tailwind, and like a super fast Fake Out and Icy Wind, and Electro Web on Thundy. Like this is a very fast mode, and you only need a few of them. You pair them with mid speeders and give them all the speed they need. So it's like you have to respect my fast mode, but if you're piling on your Tailwinds and Icy Winds, then I can just bring in Aromatisse and Trick Room later. So Trick Room is exciting. You don't always need to run Trick Room, but the threat of Trick Room is always something to worry about.
Yeah, definitely. And something else I noticed with your team, and I think this can be said about a lot of stronger teams, is when they go wide, right? Mm-hmm. So having a lot of options to choose from. I can say this because I'm like, prepping for you this week. And it's like, I mean, you could bring any 6, right? I mean, it's you don't have any throwaways on that team like a lot of other teams do. The Krabbies of the world, or whoever's they're never going to come. Yeah. So I think that's pretty nice. I
think that's a benefit of the points draft, is that like my strat was like grab as many, like I'm not going any bargain basement mons, not reaching into the bag. I have a lot in like the midpoint range, and exactly for the reason that you've identified, that it's like everything is bringable, everything needs to be respected to at least some degree. So we'd be like 13, 12, 12, 11, 10, 9, and then like no 1-pointers.
Yeah. And the 4s that you have are pretty strong. I think War Turtle is a really good support.
You've used it well, yeah.
Yeah. Throw has done a lot for you this season, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I know this is kind of a side note, but I feel like points draft is just better. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I think if you have a less experienced league, then tiers provide training wheels and stop someone from like really running away with an incredible draft. Like as long as good drafters can police each other and stop someone from getting a ridiculous team, then points drafts are really good.
Yeah, I like that it gives us more freedom, right? Because you can have a top-heavy team if that's what you want, right? If you just want we have a sand team, right? Maybe you just want like 6 of the highest tiers, and then the rest of the team you kind of don't care about, right? That's an option that you can have if you want to do it. I don't think it's the strongest. I think teams like yours kind of prove that it's better to have a wider base, especially when draft league is just so matchup dependent, But it's
you
cool
want to
have
maximize options, and that's such an amorphous term because some 18-point mons just have 3 times as many options as everyone else. So like you can run a top-heavy team and have a ton of options, but my strategy was just 11 bringable mons is going to give me options.
Yeah, as the season's progressed, I definitely am seeing the value in your team that after the draft happened, I did not see, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a top 2 team. I think, and here's the thing, right? Last season, I think it was last season or maybe 2 seasons ago, Steve had objectively the worst team.
Yeah.
Right? I think anybody would say that.
Random draft.
I didn't think he was going to be last place, right? Like, he's a good coach, so I knew that he would be able to pull out some crazy stuff, and of course he did. He made the playoffs, right? So when I do say things like, I think this team is lower on the tier list or whatever, it's never a knock on the coach. I think I have the worst team this season, but I was able to win a game against a team that people thought was going to be one of the strongest, right? So it depends how you play week to week, right?
Every week is different. Sometimes you're strong against a strong team and weak against a weaker team. It's just how it is. Anyone thinking it's going to make a playoff run, or anyone who's the protagonist of this season because they haven't done as well, or just because they're wholesome?
It's Bohm.
Bohm's going to make a run?
He's going to make a run.
Okay.
I really think he is.
I think he was another contender for top team, and I don't really understand his transaction, so maybe you do more than I do.
Yeah, I think he had one of those super top-heavy teams. Right.
He dropped Clawitzer. Clawitzer's the GOAT. Clawitzer's amazing. Oh, well.
Do you like it, really?
Well, so Indeedy Clawitzer, because you have, with 50% bonus on, pulse moves, you have access to, basically stab on a 200 base power psychic terrain pulse, because it becomes psychic, gets boosted in psychic, double power and mega launcher. It just becomes insanely strong. It OHKOs Eternatus, Clawitzer's terrain pulse. It's unbelievable. But with Dynamax, you're not going to be Dynamaxing a Clawitzer, so it's a little worse. But
it has that awkward speed tier too of 59 or 60 or whatever, right? So.
Hatterene's amazing. I guess he didn't want to run it again. PZ is also good, so that's fine. But dropping Glastrier with really strong Trick Room, that seemed
weird to me too, but I think he's going for something a little more versatile, right? Like he pulled out that crazy Electivire strat last week.
Yeah, and I did not see that coming. That was very cool. So Scarf PZ gives speed control to Electivire with Discharge, triggering its motor drive, and then Electivire Max is good. Nothing resists electric and ice coverage, and it's got both.
Right. Yeah. So that looked pretty strong, and then he still has that Tauros Frostlass combo that you always have to be ready for it.
It's very real. It's a gimmick, as in it's exactly one thing that these two on the field are really going to be doing, but it's very good.
It is, right? And you have to at least prep for it, and then he can just choose not to bring it. Yep. Now that his team's a little wider. I feel like Scyther is really good for 3 points.
It probably is. I never looked into it. What's it do?
Well, it's got pretty decent stats because initially it didn't have an evolution. Yeah. But now it gets Eviolite, so it can make it. Oh,
wow. That's really good stats with Eviolite.
Right? If you don't have, obviously everybody runs a rock move and it dies to everything.
But I don't see rock weaknesses. I guess Frostlass and Driftblim. Oh, and Moltres. Never mind. So everybody's going to be running rock moves, but does he have a wide guard? Maybe? I don't know. He probably has a plan. The only mon he has not brought, so.
And then he has the Magby, which we talked about. I think having stuff like that is is a definite weakness, right? That's just a slot that you don't even have to look at.
Zero prep and you'll be fine. Like, you're gonna be surprised, but like by game 2, like it's not gonna be a good mon net of the surprise. But watch, this is how we always get surprised. It's one of the best things about the game is that you can never stop being surprised by something, because each mon has 100 moves. Like, this is like an objectively not very approachable game for people who didn't play the games as kids and like don't have like a base level of understanding of the type chart. Like, there's so much to learn. You're gonna get beat by everything once. It's really it's a very deep game.
I mean, even when you like, I've played the game for since 1996 or whatever, right?
Oh, baby.
So, I mean, I've been playing Pokemon forever, and I played a little bit of competitive singles in college, like on Showdown or whatever it was called at the time, 100 years ago. But then I got into VGC just a couple years ago and was just getting constantly blown up. It's like a totally different game. So, like you said, the learning curve is very steep.
I guess like low ladder is fun. You're gonna get blown up by like the first time I saw Belly Drum, I'm like, I didn't know Belly Drum was a move when I like 1 year ago started VGC, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I lost in one turn.
Yeah, I got destroyed by Justified Lucario Whimsicott combo. And when that happened to me, I was like, who would ever play doubles? This is so dumb. I was like, is this all people do? And then not knowing, obviously, how deep it was. So
Justified is probably one of the first things people run into that just seems like pretty hopeless. That you're like, I guess I need to make a team that counters this, and I don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, and then you run into NDD and Hatterene, and then that's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, so I feel like for me, I think Bohm is going to make a playoff run. I think he's going to win the rest of his games this season.
It's going to be tricky. I mean, he's got to win, I think, all 3.
Right, he does. And James has to lose, and James has performed really well this season. So
yeah, James, I don't know if we have time for it, but like I wanted to look at one of his replays, which I thought was very impressive. His win over Carboni, which is Carboni's only loss, right? Oh, I guess he got 2, but fine. Another good team.
Yeah.
But let's just look at the James team, because James is to me is a protagonist, as someone who didn't make playoffs before and clearly knows what he's doing, and has learned from he played old Pokemon like you did, and now is adjusting to the Dynamax meta, and I think he's getting better. He's leveling up. I love Mudsdale Slowking, the swagger strats. They both can swagger. So if he has another swaggerer, then they both can get free boosts.
Is Persian? I don't know.
I would be surprised if it didn't. Persian has every move in the game.
It's so good. Such a good one.
Clefable's amazing. My MVP of last season. Thundy is clearly good.
Right. Yeah, I think Clefable, last week he used it as a max threat. It's just so versatile. It's so strong. I think it's so good in draft, and it has the biggest move pool, right? Or maybe after
it might literally have the biggest move pool,
right? And good stats, good bulk. It's a redirector, so I mean you can run it in so many different ways. I think Clefable's amazing.
So I only ran Dynamax offensive Clefable once. I did run Life Orb because it's just free. It's like a hidden Life Orb with no recoil. It's great, but to get some damage. But I didn't run it super offensive because there's just such a big target on Clefable's back. People are going to be beating it, or are going to be prepping to beat it regardless of whether it's defensive or offensive. So it's kind of tricky. If he's got good fake outs, then maybe he can help the Clefable. If he's got another attacker next to it that people feel the need to target, which he does. Blaziken's gonna be faster than everything if you ignore it.
Right.
Thundy, of course. So he's got good ways to make Clefable do whatever he wants it to do, because you got to respect his other stuff at the same time.
Yeah, he's got. Can you go scroll down to the bottom of his team? What does he have down there?
These are usable mons. These are usable low tiers. Chinchino's really great.
Yeah, Chinchino is good. Pretty good move pool, and it has skill link, which is awesome. I don't know about Duskull though.
Reasonably bulky Eviolite and Levitate. I mean, you probably want Frisk, but Levitate's good too.
20 HP, 20 base HP though. That's
well, 90. So it like Dusclops only has 45 HP, but that thing lives everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's noticeably less than Dusclops, like because Dusclops is like 45, 130 plus EVLA, but like Duskull is bringable. So this is a how much do we have? 3 Trick Room setters? We have, I guess, just Slow King and Duskull, but. Oh, no, and Trevenant. So we have very strong Trick Room capabilities with a Mudsdale to sweep. So I love the threat of Trick Room. You don't need to run it, but the threat stops people from investing into speed, stops people from committing to speed, and then you use that momentum. Persian can win the fast mode, and so
he has that nice speed tiering too, where he can kind of go either way with a lot of those mons, right? Like they can go Trick Room or they can go Tailwind. Like Duraludon under Tailwind is really fast, but it's also just slow enough that against a fast team, maybe like mine or something, right? He could run it in Trick Room. So
okay, Bohm is your pick to overperform in the back half. James is my pick to continue to perform well in the back half. Anything else before we go? Use your airtime.
Man, it's nice to be back. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's a joy. I like our discourse. We both are down with disagreeing with each other, and that's good. Because a lot of people, the young people, I'm about to become an old fogey here, but like the people who grow up on the internet, they either learn to just like bend with the wind because they never want to just be criticized by random anonymous trolls, or they just like are always ironic because they don't want to be criticized by random internet trolls. So they're like, they don't really care if they're being sincere or not. And like, it's a really tough way to interface with people who don't care what their opinion is, but are giving you strong opinions anyway. And so like I know that like you're saying what you believe most of the time, and or if you're teasing, you make it known, right? Like that's
try to.
Yeah, and so it's clearly better to have an opinion and stand by it and be like, it's okay if you don't agree with me. I'm okay with you having a different opinion. And here's why.
I like that it kind of encourages other people to chime in too, right? Because for certain things, like if the entire league disagrees with me, hey, I have my opinion, but at the same time, it's a democracy, right? So if you guys all want to go one way, then that's the way we're going to go. You know, I'm not going to complain about it, but I like that we can have that disagreement, encourage other people to join in with us, and then forward with it, right? I think it makes the league healthier. You know, there's no animosity. There's no like, you know, screw this guy, he's a jerk. No, we disagree on a children's JRPG. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
We have a league with all wholesome people, basically. Definitely. 100% wholesome, which is a treat on the internet.
You know, we did mention the younger players. We have a couple young coaches that have been really strong this season. I mean, Raph every season comes out looking like a superstar, right? I just got to throw that out there. Like, I love to troll the kid, but he always comes with the good stuff. And Sam, I think in the last couple seasons, has become a really good coach too. He's been drafting really great teams recently and playing really well too. So
agree. Braff is my loss so far, and I don't see how I'm supposed to beat him besides like surprise, I guess. So I need to dodge him on my path to victory.
Well, I think in the playoffs you should play against somebody from the other conference until the finals, right? So.
Oh well, you're a mod. You organize that.
Yeah. That's the plan, at least as far as I know. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to do cross-conference playoffs, so there's only the potential for one rematch.
That's really good. I like that approach. Daddy, it's been a joy. Thanks for coming on. This is your mid-season VBL-S review. See you at the end of the season.
Thanks, Jordan. Bye, guys.
Bye.